And good afternoon. I'm here with a guest who is going to be doing a leadership institute at the LitCon conference, and he's going to tell us all about his book and his leadership, um, uh, what he's going to be doing at that leadership conference. I'm going to do a quick little share screen here. It's Matt Renwick, and he is a 20 plus year educator who has written a book called Leading Like a Coach. And the 5 practices that he promotes in that book: create, organize, affirm, communicate feedback, and help teachers become leaders. And he is talking to me from his principal's office. So he's in the field, folks. He's for real. So I'm going to stop that share and I'm going to be quiet and say, Matt, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about the book. Tell us about what this institute's going to be all about. You're on.
Well, thanks, Dr. B. And just to be clear, the kids are gone, the staff are gone. It's after school. So, um, but yeah, I am. First, thanks for having me talk a little bit about these ideas and the conference. And um, like I was sharing before, I was initially a elementary school teacher, third through sixth grade, and started off, I think, the second year receiving a literacy curriculum program, and it wasn't a bad program, but the way they approached it was, we need to teach it to fidelity. I'm sure you've heard that. And so I did it. And I was, did what I was told, and I understand where the district was coming from. They want to make sure they feel like, if we do everything consistently the same, all kids will succeed. And what I learned in a short amount of time was that I wasn't meeting some of my kids' needs. I remember one student who was reading very well in terms of decoding, but I would ask them, let's check your understanding, and there wasn't much there. So, and unfortunately, I kept going with that for a while until I just finally decided, there needs to be more to this. It can't be just a script. So I started reading literature, professional literature by Chris Devani. Again, this is fifth and sixth grade. So Chris Devani, Stephanie Harvey, um, Janet Allen, and really started to integrate some of those strategies and ideas and beliefs really into my own instruction, and saw I was better able to meet more of my kids' needs, and start to strive toward equity. So 7 years into instruction, I took an opportunity to go into administration. Started as an assistant principal, athletic director for 4 years, and then moved into a elementary school, Title One, high needs, 60 to 70% free and reduced, and but it was a reading recovery school, or I should say, a school with reading recovery in it, right? And I didn't really know much about it. I didn't know who Regie Routman really was, and but I was quickly educated on it, and was just once I saw it and saw how the core instruction works, and how it can align with the tenets of reading recovery. I just was like, almost had some grief, like, man, I wish I would have known this 7 years ago when I was starting out as a teacher. Um, and then I got to know Regie Routman just through because we used some of her resources, and we're now good friends. And she's been just essential for me. And as a leader, I continue to reference Read, Write, Lead and Literacy Essentials, her two most recent books. And um, yeah, and so now I'm in another school. Um, it's allowed me more time to write. So I have a book out, like you said, Leading Like a Coach. And yeah, this book is just a distillation of what I've learned in let's see here, my 16th year in administration. Just here's what
Wow.
I know right now.
Well, everything you're saying here is music to my ears. I'm recovery trained, and so there are all these naysayers out there that say it doesn't work, blasey, blasey, blasey. But very glad to hear that in your building it worked well and worked better than the one size fits all kind of things that some other people do. So that I'm sorry I had to get on my soapbox there for a second.
No,
Okay.
deservedly.
So now I'm going to turn it back over to you and march on to whatever you think you need to talk about next.
Well, yeah, and it just kind of segue with what you're saying is, Renew Recovery is not a script. It's not a packaged program. It's just very responsive to kids' needs. Um, and I thought, how can I operationalize, I guess, my practice as a leader? There's like instructional leadership and there's definitions and there's um, strategies, but is there a framework in which a leader could operate within, not as a script, but just as a way of moving a school from where they are to where we want to be? And this is the best that I've been able to come up with. Um, and it starts with creating. So there's five, the coach is an acronym. But there's five strategies or phases, if you will. The first one is creating confidence through trust. And that is all about not coming in with my own agenda, but really trying to understand what's going on in a school, showing up every day, visiting classrooms, noticing what's going well, and really just being a learner. And then when teachers start to ask, well, hey, I want to try this, I want to kind of veer off the script, right? I'll say, all right, let's plan that. Let's talk about that. What might that look like, and what do you hope for, and what are some challenges you might face? And really, I'm just trusting them, as professionals to make decisions. And I've just seen just such positive results from that. And then whether they succeed or it's kind of a half success, or even if it's a fail, it's not a fail because we tried something and we did it centered on improving kids' instruction or kids' education. So that just really builds a lot of confidence.
Yeah,
Also my
yeah.
notes when I give them feedback, it's mostly strength oriented, and I'll leave my notes with them. We call them instructional walks, which is also from Reggie's work. One teacher was showing me the folder she's had since 2018 of all the notes I've given her as feedback, and they're just little, assets. Here's how I'm successful, and it's almost a portfolio of success. So, um, yeah, that's my goal with that is
Oh,
not to fix, but to build.
and I just want to put a plug in here for the research around what you've just said, and that is a tremendous amount of research that says the key is the keys to success in literacy is that empowered teacher. And the teacher makes more difference, and there's a ton of research on that. Teachers make more difference than any particular program.
Yeah.
So by empowering your teachers the way you are, and by the way, do you have an opening? I'm just kidding.
Not yet, but
Okay, I'm totally kidding.
yeah,
But if by empowering the teachers the way you are just following the research very well. And I'll let you
yes.
get back on your points now.
No, I mean that's a great segue, and yes, and we want teachers confident and in themselves and seeing the results, but we also want to be swimming in the same direction, right? And that's important too, and which again, Reading Recovery does so well because they have such a focus and a powerful professional development embedded within, that and in that work. So how can we kind of replicate that or emulate it at least? And so that's the second piece is organize around a priority. What is your focus for the school year? Um, and that can involve anything like a root cause analysis. You can work with a regional education association or outside consultant to help you look at your data and say, okay, what do we need to work on? And so we can all see it, we can all work toward it. But that also means prioritizing how we spend resources. Are you going to teacher pay teachers all the time? Um, you're just going to get a variety of and quality of content there. So how can we again, systemize, I guess, our thinking, our beliefs, and going to that direction of all kids are successful readers and writers. So the A part is affirming the promising practices. So you've got confident teachers or more confident, you've got a focus. Now, how can we play to their strengths, when they're trying something new? So we just adopted a new literacy curriculum program. I'm not against programs as long as they're not a script. Instead of fidelity, we're looking at integrity, right? Managing the students and the
I
standards.
just
And
jotted that little phrase down.
I don't know who to
I
give it
love
credit to,
it.
but I think it might have been Reggie that said it. Um, but using the resource as a tool to, build readers and writers, and um, the making sure they still have time for independent reading and read aloud. And again, just positioning the teacher as a professional. And then we get to feedback, right? We do all of the other things that they feel I'm credible, I'm there for the right reasons. I've noticed what they're doing well. We're all doing this, generally the same thing. Then I can communicate feedback, but it's more about, hey, I noticed this, this, and this. What are your thoughts? And really building their capacity for self-assessment and um, being a lifelong learner because nope, yeah, I think the average tenure of a principal is like 4 years. I mean, I'm here, this is year 7, so I'm, rare, but
I think there's a reason for that.
yeah, and they just, about year 3 or 4, they're not making momentum, and it's because I think they've owned too much of the responsibility and not, trusted the teachers and supported them. So there's a variety of reasons, but like I said, I'm just trying to always build their capacity as a learner and as a leader, so that they're not reliant on a principal coming in and saving the day, or I'm not special, I'm not um, overly talented in any area of leadership. So, and then that builds up into the final thing, the H, which is help teachers be leaders and learners, which is going to be kind of the end in mind goal for the Institute at LitCon.
Okay, well, I'm going to bring that back up again and have you talk about the description here says, first of all, that it's going to be on the 28th.
Mhm.
It's going to, looks like it's running from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and you have to do a separate registration. So if someone were to register for that session, tell us a little bit. I pretty well have an idea of what's going to happen there anyway. But tell us your plans for that day.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. We're going to um, give, and this isn't really even in the book, but it breaks it down even more. In the last chapter, we talk about teachers who have taken control of their own learning and have just become very efficacious and have agency. And it was largely through what we're calling equity projects right now. So teachers are engaging. It's not action research. Action research can be somewhat overwhelming. There's a lot of pieces to it, and you sometimes need to partner with the university. So this is let's say, a slimmed down version of that, but just trying to disrupt some of the inequities in our schools by looking at a small source of tension. For example, one project we did was I partnered with the librarian on getting kids to go from a lot of the popular text, a lot of the, um, Dogman and Captain Underpants books, and which are great books, but we eventually want them to get to more complex text and have options and be risk takers. So how do we do that? And we engage in some really just some mini projects, kind of like safe bets. So the librarian in this case positioned some of these easier, common, popular text next to a slightly more complex text. And then she also did some front loading with some videos, some book blurbs, and then I was more of a partner. I really was just a partner in her work and helped her collect data. And we looked at it. It was easy to implement, and then we continued on. And now we're working with Bring Me a Book and Lois Bridges, and um, the kids are now auditing the entire school library for relevance, for cultural inclusiveness, for just replacing books that are popular and getting rid of some. So it's been a really cool project. And so that's just one example, but I want to walk everyone through it and think about building their own project they could partner with a teacher in their building or district. But then we'll use the coach framework to kind of build the skills and capacity for the leaders to actually engage in this work, because it's much different than supervising where you're perceived as an expert, and it's almost a shift in leadership. And I'm more I don't know where you would position me, but very much I'm following their lead when they get to that point. So I have videos of uh, teachers in my school that will kind of practice with some of the instructional walks and communicating feedback. I'll give some examples. Um, yeah, so it's going to be fun, and it will be something they can use tomorrow though too. So
And that's when teachers come to things like this, they always want something that they can take home and use on Monday. And it
Yep.
sure sounds like you're going to be a treasure trove of that with those videos and all the rest. Uh,
Yeah.
so, um, time for final thoughts. This is wrap up time. So, anything else? Did we leave out anything or anything else you want to say?
Um, I just think, it's tough right now. It's tough right now, right? We're still in a pandemic, and we have challenges here too, and I don't do things perfectly. I don't have it all figured out. And I just want to encourage people to get out, engage in some learning as leaders. That's crucial. And find someone to cover for you if I'll be out on Thursday and I have the tech ed teacher, coming from the high school to cover for me. But you got to engage in your own learning. It can't be just professional development for everyone else, and then you know, you're kind of a last thought. It's critical. Like you said, teachers are the most important person in the classroom to influence learning. And there's also a lot of research to show that the principal is as important for school-wide success, through influence through their teachers. So this framework that we'll do at LidCon will give you some very clear steps in which to engage and partner with teachers in this work and benefit both. It's very reciprocal, much like reading recovery, right? You learn from the kids as much as the kids learn from the teacher.
I was just thinking that gosh, you're using the same kind of philosophy that recovery uses. Follow the learner and encourage and help to develop the learner. Wow.
Mhm.
Uh, I bet there'll be some people chomping at the bit to come see you at your session. And I really want to thank you for taking out time in your very busy day to do this. And now comes the final silliness of a Bomberito Zoom wave goodbye. That's how I always end all these interviews. So if you could give us a nice wave and bye, everybody, and thank you so much.
Thank you.